Isn't this the opportunity to have the first really fun robotic experience? Where the robot is the HAL or the R2D2 type character that is a little bit fun, a little bit funny, and certainly Grok is ready to do that, to be that funny
Yeah.
correspondent or something. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So another question I would have, this moves away from FSD and robotaxis, would be around Optimus. And so my question would be, there's a certain point where Tesla can only scale so much with humanoids, right? You can test in the factories. You could send the humanoids to home with your employees and all that. But there's a certain point where that doesn't scale anymore. I imagine. You correct me if I'm wrong. Because even with driving, you can scale with that alone, and humanoids you're gonna have to collect a lot more data, a lot more diverse data. Could you see there being a beta program for Optimus, or is that not needed?
That's interesting. All right. So the way I understand it, then you're saying the scaling you're talking about is on the data collection, and that it takes a tremendous amount of data to allow humanoids to be able to walk around in every space, avoiding every
Well,
table,
I don't think.
understanding what things are.
Yeah, it's not so much the walking around stuff like that. Like those things will become kind of like for us, where we don't think about breathing. We don't think about, like, it'll become like that. We don't think about how tight or how hard we grip something. I think a lot of that stuff will become intuitive. But the things that I don't think they'll have is all the peculiarity of life. You know, being able to grab the battery to put on the bottom of my drill. Maybe plugging in my headphones into the charger, right? Pouring myself a drink out of my Tesla 𝐒𝐚𝐲 bottle. It's different, it looks different, right? Like there's just so much variety out there
Right.
that I don't think you'd be able to get with. I mean, because think about it, with the vehicles, they couldn't scale, and that's pretty straightforward, right? It's left, right, forwards, backwards, accelerator, brake, steering wheel.
Right.
Like that's it. With a human, it's a lot different, right? Like sometimes I grab things with just two fingers, sometimes a few. Sometimes I can leverage holding something like this on my pinky while I'm grabbing something else. And right, it's like all this like little weird things that we do that, you know.
So your question is along the lines of whether there will be a beta program where thousands or even tens of thousands of people would be able to buy these, take them home, play with them, and just the data would be being collected as it was with the FSD.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Okay. Good question. Cool.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Do you think they'll do that?
That has been Warren Redlich's theory for a very long time. I want to say, maybe one of my earliest shows, when Warren was on, he was talking about, taking them home and, letting them walk around with him on the beach. I think were some of the ones that he talked about, or walk the dog or whatever, just get used to all kinds of circumstances. And of course, that generates massive amounts. Now I know that there's been some talk about being able to use like the bajillions of hours of movies and TV shows, to download a massive amount of experience into a video form in that way that might help some of that along.
Yeah, but there's doing something in a simulation or with video is a lot different than a real world.
Oh yeah, definitely that.